Sam, tell me about some of the things you've seen, some of the tricks and traps that you've seen insurance companies do trying to pull a fast one.
Yeah, and that I'll just say for a moment that really surprised me when I started practicing this type of law. That insurance companies, big professional companies that are supposed to be out there taking care of you because you pay them to be your insurance provider, literally have tricks of the trade, little things that they say or do that they know are going to influence you without letting you know how you've missed out on something or how they've shortchanged you. One of the ones that I see most often is they'll come out and look at your car. They'll say, "Oh, your car damage is $1,000. Here's a check for it." And then you take that check thinking, "Well, I'll try to get it fixed for this. We'll see if that gets it fixed." But when you cash the check, what you didn't notice is down at the bottom, it says full and final payment of all claims. So now they didn't just settle your car damage claim, they also settled your bodily injury claim with you. And they can hold you to that because that's actually a release of your claims. Another trick that you'll see a lot of times is insurance companies, especially when you're dealing with your own insurance company after a car wreck, will just fail to tell you about coverages that you have. For instance, a lot of people will have on their own policy coverage called personal injury protection. Personal injury protection will reimburse you for your out-of-pocket medical expenses and pay up to 80% of your lost wages caused by an injury from a car accident. You call your insurance company and say, "Hey, the at-fault driver's insurance is not doing anything for me. They're not helping me. I need treatment." And the insurance company goes, "Well, look, it's their fault. You need to go after them." They never mention to you that you have coverage that could help you get treated, could help you cover your lost wages while you're fighting with that other insurance company.
Exactly. Or your own insurance company, you have full coverage on your car, right? And the at-fault insurance company, kind of like we talked about before, gives you some horrible offer. $3,000, $4,000 less than your car's worth. And you call your insurance company and complain about it. And your insurance company just says, "Oh, yeah, that's terrible. They should really do better than that." And stop. They don't bother to tell you, "Hey, we'll pay you what your car's worth, and then we will go after the bad insurance company to get our money back." They just don't mention it unless you ask or unless you have an attorney that knows to ask on your behalf. And then they'll say, "Oh, yeah, no, we can certainly take care of that." How many times does that happen?
Oh, many, many times. Another thing that you see insurance companies do a lot is literally they will tell people, "We're afraid there's no coverage on this policy," that the at-fault driver didn't have coverage on the policy for some reason. Now, they don't put that in writing. They just tell you that over the phone, hoping that you'll go away, or maybe you'll try to use your own insurance, or you'll use your health insurance, or whatever the case may be, but you'll take the burden off of them. Then, when the person comes to us and we send official letters and require them to put their findings in writing, they completely back off of that and agree that there is coverage and they pay the claim. I could probably wallpaper my office with the letters that we've gotten from insurance companies where they first deny that there's even coverage at all and then end up paying the client the policy limits of that coverage.
We could all wallpaper probably every room in the building with those kinds of letters, including letters, frankly, telling other lawyers that there's not coverage. And then that client comes to see us because they're not satisfied with that answer, and we find insurance coverage. After another lawyer has just taken the initial answer and the easy road and told them that they're out of luck. You know, your story you just told reminded me of a particular scenario that really gets to me because it involves, your own insurance, that person's own insurance. You and I both have had claims and clients where our client, usually a parent, is driving the car and it's a one-car accident, and their child or their spouse is in the car with them and is injured. And their insurance company, they call to see what their insurance company can do or to find out if there's personal injury protection. And the insurance adjuster tells them, yes, you've got $2,500 in personal injury protection for their child or for their husband or for their wife, with $50,000 in medical bills and then stops and doesn't tell them that there's more coverage there. People think because it's my fault that my wife or my daughter or my son, who's a passenger, can't recover. And that's just not true. Your liability insurance coverage for you protects the people in your vehicle if it's your fault. And so we've seen that over and over again. People with thousands and thousands of dollars of medical bills whose insurance company just doesn't bother to tell them what's there.
That's a fact. And we've also talked to people after the fact who have been contacted by insurance companies, let's say after they get out of the hospital and they've run up a very large hospital bill because of the accident. And the insurance company contacts them and says, look, this is a minimum limits policy. It's $30,000. If you hire some lawyer, they're just going to come in and take a third of that. We'll go ahead and pay you the whole policy limits right now if you'll just sign this settlement agreement agreeing to release all claims. The person goes, well, that makes sense. They sign the settlement agreement agreeing to release all claims, and then the insurance company doesn't send the $30,000 to the hurt person. Who do they send the check to, Mike?
They send the check to the hospital.
Why is that?
Because there's a hospital lien that will hold the insurance company responsible if they pay you without paying the hospital lien. Unfortunately, they don't really care about helping you, and so they won't negotiate with the hospital to try to reduce those bills like an attorney can. Or they may be offering you that $30,000, Sam, and not telling you about the $100,000 or even $500,000 or $1 million umbrella policy that's available.
That's right, because lots of people have more than one level of coverage. Some people actually buy auto coverage, especially people who own businesses.
Right.
They'll buy auto coverage to cover their car, but then they have what's called an excess or umbrella policy that covers anything they do, even a car wreck. And so if you settle with the auto policy, you've actually missed out on that larger policy that could have paid the rest of your damages.
And if you don't know what's there, there's no way you can protect yourself unless you have an attorney that knows to look for those things.
I had some people come in the other day, Mike, that really dodged a bullet. It was a sad case. It was a family who had lost their 15-year-old girl, and she had been riding in a car with her cousin, her older cousin, who was 20 years old. And it was just a one-car accident. The 20-year-old driver had lost control of the car, run off the road, and hit a tree. And unfortunately, her 15-year-old cousin, who was her passenger, died in the wreck. The people were contacted by the insurance policy on the car and told it's a minimum limits policy, it's $30,000 is all we cover, and we're going to offer that to you right now. Don't waste the time to go talk to an attorney or hire an attorney because they'll just take your money. When the people came in and they laid this out to me, I made a deal with them. And I said, I believe that there could possibly be more coverage here than just that one policy. And if you'll let us look into it, if you'll hire us to investigate this claim for you, I will promise you that we will charge you no fee at all on that first policy that's already been offered to you. So it will cost you nothing from the money that you've already been offered if you'll just let me look for more coverages. Mike, on a one-car accident with two young ladies in the car, we found 5 policies of coverage. Because of the complexities of how a Texas auto policy works, sometimes there are multiple levels of coverage out there. Even though there are no rich people involved in the case, there are no business owners or commercial policies involved in the case, just the way the families happen to be living, what their living arrangements are, who happens to be in the car, and what policies exist. And so we were able to find a far larger recovery for that family. Even though it didn't replace what they lost, it was still something to help them along that they were going to completely miss out on if they had followed the advice of the insurance company.
I remember that case. But I also remember there was another case that involved a child who had been viciously bitten by a dog. And there was a homeowner's insurance policy that was $100,000. And they came in and we made the agreement, just as you mentioned, with that family, that here's the $100,000 that is being offered, but let us look, let us turn every stone and make sure that's all there was. And we did. We turned every stone and we made sure that's all there was. And in the end, that is all there was. and we made sure that was done and made sure that the clients had a full and complete investigation. And we didn't take one penny from that case. But it gave me, and I know it gave you, a good feeling to make sure someone had taken the time to investigate that case for the client.
And it gave the client the peace of mind. It didn't cost them anything but a little time to let us look into it. And now they know that they really have gotten everything they could get for their son who was injured so badly.
Right.